Dear learner, welcome back again to Playwright with TypeScript UI Automation Testing Session 8. In today's session, you will learn importance and usage of CSS Selector Locator in Playwright with TypeScript. So in the last couple of sessions, you already seen different type of built-in locator, and with those built-in locator strategy, how you can identify the element and interact with the element. But here we'll be discussing how we can create our own customized CSS selector, and with the help of the CSS selector, how with the help of the locator strategy we can identify the element in Playwright with TypeScript and how we can interact with those elements. So CSS selector in Playwright with TypeScript are cornerstone for selecting elements in the browser efficiently and effectively. They leverage standard CSS syntax to target elements based on their tag name, class, ID, different attribute, and relationship with the DOM, a document object model. Locating by CSS selector is the most common locating strategy of advanced Playwright users because it can access even those elements that do not have any ID or name. CSS selector is used by browser to target specific HTML elements and apply styles. For web browser automation, Playwright uses those CSS selectors to locate and perform an action on an object instead of applying a style. So here main objective is to identify the element and doing the operation, not applying the style. User need to provide a CSS selector string as an argument to page.locator method. Playwright automatically detects if it is a CSS selector or not. Using CSS selectors to locate element have some specific benefit. It is much faster, it is more readable, and it is often used more primarily whenever you are automating any web-based application. Apart from CSS selector, you will be learning how we can create our XPath and how with the help of the page.locator strategy we can identify the element. So both is having some pros and cons. So we'll be discussing in the next session whenever we'll be covering the XPath selector locator in Playwright with TypeScript. So let's understand what are the basic CSS selector symbols. So in case you know about the ID, you can simply use tag name has ID. In case you know about the class attribute, you need to use tag name dot class attribute. But here there is a catch. In the class name, there sometimes there might be space available, but you cannot consider the space. Without the space, whatever unique part is there, you can take it either starting, middle, or end position. Okay, then in case you know the attribute, you can use tag name third bracket, right, or that okay, and attribute equal to the corresponding value. And also sometime maybe like that attribute is common, okay, couple of stuff, so you can use start with but, right. So attribute is common, or maybe something attribute some is having some dynamic and static content, where static content will be fixed but dynamic content will vary, right. Your dynamic and content may be in the starting, ending, or at the middle position. So for those things you can use start with, end with the content. Start with you need to use tag name, yeah, then third bracket attribute power sign equal to the prefix of the string. For end with you can use tag name third bracket attribute dollar equal to suffix of the string, which is the end part. And contents you can use, which is the nothing at the starting, ending, or middle part. Tag name third bracket attribute star equal to the substring. And you can use multiple symbols. Suppose sometime using one symbol, right, you are not able to identify the element uniquely, you can use multiple combination. Tag name third bracket attribute 1 equal to value, attribute 2 equal to value, like that. Okay, now let's see the implementation, like how we can create our own customized CS selectors and how we can use them as a locator in Playwright with TypeScript. So what I did, I already created a spec file css selector locator.spec.ts in the training script folder, which is primarily available in the test folder, and inside the Playwright TypeScript training project. So here we did all the import, which is the necessary or mandatory component for any Playwright script, and this is our test cases like test and css selector Playwright locator functionality. And this is the page we are just navigating, and we can give some of the wait time before closing the page, so that we can like validate our UI navigation happening perfectly or not. Now let's go to that website as well, Facebook page. Now let's identify the email field. Okay, with some CSS selector strategy. Let's select the element and let's click on the inspect button. Okay, and mouse it over to the any element. So you could see this is the email field. It is tag name is starting with input, type equal to text, class equal to some value, name equal to email, id equal to email, data hyphen test id is there, placeholder is there. So you can use data hyphen test id or placeholder, right, or maybe class. Okay, whatever way is the player already supporting. But here our objective is to create the CSS selector. Okay, so what is the syntax for normal CSS selector? In case you know the id attribute, so you could see the tag name has id. So what is the id? Email. What is the tag name? Input. Okay, let's copy that id. Let's press Ctrl F. So you could see able to get it. Now press tag name input hash sign and give the id value. You could see 1 out of 1 element is being displayed, right? 1 out of 1. And in the left side you could see the element is being highlighted, which is the email field. So this is our CSS selector. In case I know that id which will be unique in the page, and with the id and tag name I can identify the element. Tag name has email. Now let's try to interact in the page. So what we can do here, await. Here you need to use page dot locator method, right? For CSS selector expert, you need to use locator method, not like get by ID, get by test ID, get by role, all this stuff. So here you'll be using page dot locator, and here you need to give that locator value. Okay, whatever we already created within the double quote, and now it is the input field. What I can do, I can try to call the method called field. Okay, here I can pass something called within the double quote again test 123 at the rate test.com, end with colon. Now go for the second field. Okay, so we'll be going for the second field, which is the password field. So we already learned about the first option, right, with the help of the id. The class part will be learning later. Okay, now we can go with the third option, like with the help of the any tag name third bracket attribute equal to the value of the attribute, but definitely attribute should be unique, attribute value should be unique. Now you could see for the password field, there are a couple of attribute available, right? Okay, so you could see the attribute is like type equal to password, class value is there, name value is there, id value is there. So let's take the name attribute. Okay, as pass. So what is the tag name? Input, give third bracket, give attribute name called name equal to the value, right? Pass, end with third bracket, right? You could see it is identifying the password field uniquely, right? Uniquely. So what you can do, you can just try to give the value here. Again, await page dot locator, and you can give the value within the double quote here. Okay, dot field method, call the field method because we are trying to enter some password. Okay, that's fine. Now what we will be doing, we'll be trying to click on the sign in button. Okay, so we'll be using now the second option, login button, right? What we can do, so what we can do, you could see there's a class value is there, and this tag name is starting with button. Okay, there is a class value, but you cannot take anything after the space part. So this part we only can take, right? This part without the space, because otherwise it will not take. In case you are using attribute class equal to that particular complete value, you can give it. But in case you are using the other option with the class value, if you want to identify like the tag name dot value of the class attribute, so you cannot use the space. So here what is the tag name? Button dot, and give the class. You could see 1 out of 1 element is being displayed, is highlighting the login button. So that is perfectly fine. So what I will do, I will be again using here await page dot locators, and I can give the value, and I can call the click method because it's a button, right? I can do it. And now I can wait for 2 seconds before closing. We can understand whether it's entering value in the email field, password field, and clicking on the sign in button. Okay, so now we can try to run it using the terminal. So npx space playwright space test, and then your spec file name like CSS Selector Locator .spec.ts hyphen space hyphen project equal to Firefox hyphen space hyphen headed, because we want to run our we want to execute the script in the Firefox browser in the headed mode. Now let's try to run it. Let's see what's happening here. You could see opening the Facebook page, entering the value in that like email and password field, and clicking on the sign in button. But it's not a valid, so it might show some error. But my test case is perfectly working fine. So what we learn? We learn about the CSS selector, and we learn how to create our own customized CSS selector with the help of the ID, class, and attribute. So in case you know the ID, just tag name has ID value. In case you know the class attribute without the space, you need to take the starting part. You need to use tag name dot class value. In case you know some attribute name which is common, you can use tag name third bracket attribute equal to the value. Now in case you want to use multiple attribute, right? So what you can do? Suppose say this is the part right already there. Okay, I want to use the multiple attribute for the password field. Okay, so what I can do for the password field, what I already used it, right? This one. Okay, sometime maybe with this one I am not able to uniquely identify the element, right? So I can use multiple attribute. What are the multiple attributes available? You could see tag name is input, right? Your name equal to password, and there might be other attribute like called ID equal to pass. So you can give any other attribute. Okay, again third bracket ID equal to pass. Okay, so both the combination you could see it is able to identify the element uniquely, right? So that's fine. Give it here. Just change it and give it here. So it will still work. Similarly for the email field, what you can do, you can just copy the same thing and you can use the multiple attribute. Let's give it for the email field as well. Change it for the other field. You could see. Okay, some class value is there, or you can use any other stuff, right, for the email field. Okay, say use any other attribute. Okay, you could see use data hyphen test ID right here. Okay, name equal to email, and I can use other attribute hyphen. Okay, sorry, data hyphen equal to what is the value? Uh, let's take it simply this one, right? Let's give it here. You could see one out of one. Still, it is highlighting the email field. Let's change it here. Okay. Now let's try to execute it. Let's see what's happening here. Save the code and let's try to execute it again. Maybe this time we can run it in the Chromium browser. So it will open the Chromium browsers. It will open the Facebook page. It will identify the email, password, field, login button. It will enter the value. Click on the login button, sign in button. So perfectly fine, right? My code is perfectly working fine. Okay, or you can change any other value. Again, maybe test one like that. Okay. So now it is working perfectly fine. So what we have learned as of now, we have learned like how to use the ID, how to use the class attribute with the tag name, how to use the like any attribute and the corresponding value and multiple attribute as well. But sometimes say like we want to only use the starting part or ending part or middle part. Then how can you do it? How can we create our own CSS selector? So let's go for that button where we are having the class name, right? Okay, you could see. Maybe close it once more time. Let's select that one and let's right click and sorry, bad. Let's right click and click on the inspect button again. So you could able to see all the options. So you could see here the class attribute is there, but say in case we are not taking the full class, right, sometimes there might be confusion. Okay, so I can go with either the starting part or middle part or ending part. Sometimes within this full part maybe some of the part is static or some of the part dynamic. So dynamic part can change every time. So in case you are using some of the component or attribute where dynamic and static part is there, it might fail because dynamic part will vary every time after opening the page, right, while identifying the element. So what we can do, we can start with says button is the tag name. Okay, give third bracket. Okay, we'll be using starting with, right? So attribute. what is the attribute, and power equal to the prefix. What is the attribute? Okay, this is the class attribute and this is the prefix part we will state, right? We will take the starting part. Okay, third bracket class power sign equal to starting part and end. Okay, we have given 3T. Okay, button button. Okay, I did not given the underscore part, right? I need to give that. Okay, you could see the starting part underscore 42ft. You have given starting part, right? This is the tag name. This is the attributes power sign equal to. You could able to see the element uniquely, right? So you can what you can do. You can just change it here. Give the comment. Okay, now we'll be using the this one, right? Instead of only the class part, I'll be using some attribute, and I am using the start with option, and I'm giving the starting part of the attribute, and it will try to identify the element and it will do the operation. Now let's try to run it. Okay, you could see login button will be clicked. Yes, it's perfectly working fine. So with the start with, and I am able to create the CSS selector, and I am able to also do the operation. Now we will be creating CSS selector with the end with the attribute value. So here we need to give the ending part of the attribute and then dollar equal to the suffix of the string. So what is the ending part of this class? I will take it. So this is the part I will be take the ending part, only the ending part. Okay, so I will take the ending part, full ending part you need to take. Okay, and I will be taking here giving dollar sign. Okay, and I will be giving the ending part. You could see one out of one. So your objective should be you should be able to identify the element uniquely, one out of one, right? So I will be just changing it here. Okay, let's do it. Now I'll update it here. Whatever we are trying to identify the element with the attribute end with value. Now let's run it again. Okay, and let's see whether it is able to identify that sign in button and able to click it here in the Facebook page. Yeah, it's perfectly working fine, and my test keep is getting passed. So you already learned about the start with and end with, and you can use contents. So contents you can use, give the static either start with, end with, or middle portion, whatever you feel comfortable, but that should be static one. So what is the syntax? Again, tag name, third bracket attribute. Here you need to give star sign instead of power dollar. It will be star sign and the substring. Anything, right? Either starting part or middle part, entering part, anything you can give it. Here you need to give. Say I want to take the middle part only. Okay, say take the middle part, this middle section, right? So you can take it, but you need to give that star sign, otherwise it will not work. Okay, you could see it is throwing zero, yeah. Okay, but if you give star, you could see one out of one. So means it should work properly. Okay, so this is the three options we can use it. So, but where we are using it, because sometime your locator might be already having some value which is static. Some of the component will never change, but some component might be dynamic. So in case you are using the whole attribute, right, it will fail because dynamic part will change every time. So what we'll be doing, we'll be changing the last option for the CS selector, and I'll be changing it here, the value which is the contents, means the star sign, and I'll see whether it's happening or not. Okay, so let's run it here. So we will see that whether login button is getting clicked properly, perfectly fine. So there is no error. Now if you just try to generate the report, okay, you could see your report. You will be able to generate whatever step has been executed. You can able to generate the report. So you could see it's ran in the Chromium browser, one execution done, one pass, there is no fail, flaky skip. This is the time executed, total time taken is 5.3 seconds. And this is a folder where test script is present, and this is your spec file name. This is the folder, this is the spec file name, and this is the test case name. Test CSS selector playwright functionality, right? Test CSS selector playwright locator functionality. If you expand it, you could able to see it is navigating to the Facebook page. It is filling the value in the email field, it is filling the value in the password field, it is trying to click on the sign in button. So that is the way like your test script properly working fine. Now we'll let's comment out all this code. Okay, so we'll be just commenting out all the code here. Okay, so and we will try to implement other CSS selector techniques for the other web page in different way. Okay, let's go to some page. Okay, this is the page I can go to. Okay, so this is the page I go to and say I want to check some checkbox, like checkbox one. Right click and click on the inspect. So you could see there is a input is the tag and type equal to checkbox and ID equal to there. Okay, but here say nothing is unique, right? All are say repetitive, but here ID is unique, that's fine. But say nothing is unique, so we can try to identify it with the help of any of the like locator, sorry, any of the attribute and tag name. Let's identify it. Let's give something called um, uh, tag name equal to input third bracket type equal to checkbox. Okay, you could see now one of three element is displayed. So that part we can again take one of three, right? Total three element is there. That's fine. So this is the CSS selector, but it is highlighting it is highlighting multiple element, one of three. All the three options checkbox one, checkbox two, and checkbox three is being displayed. Okay. Now let's see. Okay. Create a variable called constant and say checkbox one. And here what we can do, we can use page dot selector. Okay. Page dot locator. Sorry, locator. And here I can give the locator value whatever we have, right? Even, but question will be coming, it will identify three of the element, then how it will work? So here you can use the call the other option called nth, right, method, where you can give the indexing. So there are three element is there, right? So indexing 0 will be means first element, indexing 1 means second element, indexing 2 means third element. So that is the way you can use it, right? So you can use indexing 0 means it will identify the first checkbox, checkbox in the page, right? Now what we can do after identifying the checkbox? What you can do? You can try to validate that checkbox is not checked. So await expect what is the checkbox one dot not dot to be checked. So initially we did not checking, so it will not be checked. That's all, right? Next, what we can do? We can wait for 2 seconds. Now we can try to check it. Definitely you need to give await. Okay, so we are checking it. Now what will be there? We can validate that it is checked. Instead of not, it will be checked, right? Again we can wait for 2 seconds. Again we can try to uncheck it. Instead of check, we need to call the method called uncheck. and after that we can validate that it is not checked, because again second time uncheck means it will be unchecked, and so it will be working perfectly fine. So what we are doing, we are identifying the element with the help of some CSS selector, but that is not unique. But here in the code, we are trying to use again nth part, right? Where we are giving the indexing. That maybe there are 10 elements, but in case you are giving the indexing 0, 1, and 2, and 3 like that way, you can identify the element perfectly based on the indexing. After that, initially it will not be checked, so we are validating that not checked, waiting for 2 seconds, we are checking it. After that, we are validating that it's checked. Again, waiting for 2 seconds, we are unchecking it, we are validating that it is not checked. Let's save the code and let's try to run it again in the Chromium browser. You can run in the WebKit browser, you can run in the Firefox browser. You could see, open the page, wait for 2 seconds, check the checkbox, wait for 2 seconds, uncheck the checkbox, closing the browser. So that is the way you can do for the other options as well, right? Okay, now that's fine, leave it. Now what we will do, we will try to do for the radio button. Okay, so what you can do, directly we can call it await. Here we can again wait for 2 seconds. Okay, then we are going for the radio button. We're trying to do some operation with the radio button, await. Okay, page dot locator, we can use it, and we can give some value here. Okay, let's identify the radio button also. Like here, you could if you just mouse it over your cursor here to the radio button, you could see tag name is again input, type equal to radio, so you can change it to radio. Okay, now again 3 element is being displayed, because all are like with the same CSS selector 3. So I am not identifying here uniquely. Okay, but in the code I can uniquely identify it. I can give here double quote. So say first I want to check the fast radio button, radio 1. So what you can do, you can use either n or you can use the fast option method, right? So out of this similar element, it will identify the fast element. Okay, and then it will click. Okay, so it will click fast radio button. Okay, so it will click on the fast radio button. Now what you can do again, you can use that one input equal radio, you can call the last dot last. Okay, it will click on the last radio button. What is the last radio button? Is third radio button, right? Okay, we can give for 2 seconds wait time here, so that you can able to visualize the execution. Again we can give for 2 second wait time. So here this is the CS selector, but that is not unique, right? It is giving you 3 options, radio button 1, 2, and 3. But with the help of the fast method within the CS selector, I am just trying to identify the fast radio button and clicking on that, waiting for 2 seconds. Again with the similar CS selector, I am calling the last radio button to like narrow down the search, to narrow down the element identification. I am trying to go in the perfect exact element. Otherwise it will throw the error, because there might be multiple radio button or options, similar options might be there. Okay, now what we can do, we can go for the second one. We can try to click on the second option. So second option, there is no such method available called second, third, like that. So only first and last is there, but we can use here nth indexing, right? We'll press dot, we'll use nth, and here indexing I can give it 1, because 0 means the first element, 1 means the second one, and like 2 means the third element here. So it will be second radio button, right? So the fast, with the help of the fast, it will click the fast radio button. With the help of the last here, as 3 option is there, it will click on the third radio button. And in case we are want to select the second radio button, so you need to use the indexing nth, right, and fast index. Now let's save the code and let's run it, and let's see what's happening here. It will open the page first, wait for 2 seconds, it will check the checkbox, wait for 2 seconds, uncheck it, wait for 2 seconds, select the radio button 1, wait for 2 seconds, select the radio button 3, wait for 2 seconds, select the radio button 2, wait for 2 seconds, close the browser. So my code is perfectly working fine. There is no issue. Now if you want to just show the report, like, you could generate the report and you can validate the step by step. So it is executing again in the Chromium browser. This is the folder name and this is the spec name. This is the test cases name. You could see, like this is the website is navigating. Okay, it is identifying that checkbox. Okay, for one, it is validating to be checked. Okay, and sorry, to not check. Okay, and it is using sorry, to be checked after checking on the checkbox. Okay, then unchecking it. Okay, then here it is validating not to be checked. Now it is identifying the radio button 1 and clicking on that. It is clicking on the radio button 3, which is the last, and now it is clicking on the radio button 2 using the nth indexing 1. So that is the way script is perfectly working fine, and that is the reason your script got passed. There is no failure. Okay, so that is the way, like there are a lot of options available to identify or to create your own customized CSS selector with the help of this strategy. In case you know the id, you can use tag name has id. In case you know the class attribute, without the space part, you can take the starting part, you can use tag name dot class. You can use single attribute, multiple attribute. In case you know that attribute is not fixed part, like it is having some dynamic or constant part, so you can take the constant or the fixed part, you can go with start with, end with, or contents. And you can also create your cs selector with normal way, and where you can have multiple element visible, but you can use the first, last, and nth index. Using the index option, you can just try to find the element uniquely, and then you can do the operation. So that is the way. There is cs selectors is very important, or play an pivotal role to work as a locator technique in Playwright with TypeScript. That's all. Thank you.